All right, so right now I'm here with Wendy Tucker-Tannock. She's the executive producer for many films, actually, not just the one that we're going to be talking about today for Bull Street. But before we get started into me asking some pretty I want it to be conversational, fun type of topic. I want to get to know you a lot more when it comes to behind the scenes of this movie. But just start off with just telling me a little bit about your own journey into the film industry, starting from, even when you're born here in Bermuda to your travels and times in the States. Let us know all about it.
Oh, goodness, that's a long conversation. Sure. Yes, born in Bermuda. I live in Bermuda. I attended school in Bermuda, so I can go West Pembroke, I can go Berkeley, and went overseas college. I'm a Spelman alumni, so graduated from there. As for getting into the film industry, it's amazing. Sometimes you're put in the right place at the right time. So pretty much one of my sons attended school at IMG Academy in the Bradenton, Sarasota, Florida area. And one of his really good friends, his godmother is who I met because I wanted to make sure that I got to meet the parents. You know what happens when these kids go off to school. They want to go visit their friends, and you want to make sure as a parent that, hey, it's the right thing to do, and you feel comfortable with how they'll treat your child. And I met his godmother. And after a wonderful conversation on the bleachers, we bump into each other so often, but you had to watch that basketball game, if you know what I mean. Sort of got in trouble a little bit there. I wanted to go out to lunch and to go out to dinner just to have some conversation and get to know her as a godmother. But she was always busy. And so finally I said to her one day, well, what do you do? Everything all right? What are you doing? She said, yeah, I write. I said, oh, good for you. I mean, I write a little bit, but I wasn't thinking she was going to say to that magnitude. And I said, what do you write? She said, I'm a writer and I'm doing a script. I'm like, oh, sweet. And I said, okay, well, look, sorry to disturb you, blah, 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 blah. And so another day we met and how's the writing coming? Oh, it's coming good. I'm like, okay, you want to go out to dinner? No. She turned me on like 3 times. What's up with this? Because that question is coming. Hey, can I fly to so-and-so to meet, for my son to go hang out with his buddy? And I just had to have that confidence as a parent, as an international parent even. So there was one day she was in Starbucks and I saw her sitting there and I pulled into Starbucks. I saw that car. She rented this red car. I swung in there and I went in there and said, hey, you want to take a break and go to lunch? She said, no, I'm writing. So I said, all right, no worries. Look, I'll catch you on my next trip. I left, and before I left, I went to the person at Starbucks and I gave them a bill. I'm not going to tell you how much, but it was enough. I said, hey, listen, when she comes back up for her refill to get whatever she wants, I said, tell her it's on me. It's taken care of. So the next day she had to come and thank me, and we had a very good conversation after that. And it sort of led to other things. She wanted to know what my interests were. She wanted to know if I had time. She actually offered me her script. She said, do you want to see my script? And I'm like, that's a personal thing. I wouldn't dare intrude. And she said, no, have a read, see what you think. So I said, sure, I have time. And it branched out from there. I came back and I was honest. I asked questions where, for things I didn't understand. And we ended up talking, and one thing led to another. And we made some short films. They were award-winning. We're very proud of it. And her name is Lynn Dow, by the way. She's the writer, and she's also the director. And so I said, hey, Lynn, you know what? It's time to do our feature. Let's do Bull Street. And we dove in.
I absolutely love that. I didn't want to ruin the punchline there by saying it's the godmother, Lynn Dow. You know what? You just reminded us of my mother actually said to me the other day. She was like, Maya, you never know how many amazing people you're going to meet through your children's, just through your child's experiences. As a parent, and I think you just proved it right there to her as well. It's just like, you have another life when you have a child, and then you never know where it's going to pan out to.
You do. She's absolutely right. Definitely, definitely. Strong words of wisdom there. No, she's right, because look what happened.
Yeah, that's an incredible story.
An executive producer of Bull Street.
So with all the films that you guys have produced and made together, what makes this one a little bit different? Do you feel like it's any different from any other project you worked on together, or?
Yes, and I'll tell you, this is our first feature. So the other films we did were short films, and they were fantastic. You know, we really enjoyed the journey. It was really important. We thought it was actually a really good thing to do, was to do short films and to test the waters a bit. You know, it tested us and how we work together. We were able to test some different people in the industry to see if we actually liked their work and their communication styles. So that worked out well. And then we went on to do our first. So this is our first feature. Bull Street is the first feature, full-blown film, been in the United States, in the theaters, which is an amazing, amazing opportunity, and it's an amazing journey to go on. And so right now I'm just so thrilled to have brought it to Bermuda.
Yes, I actually did recently watch your short film called It's All Right, Dad.
What did you think?
Oh my gosh, it took a twist that I didn't expect, and I was like, pause, take a breath, because you know, like once you hit that moment and you realize exactly, you know, what you're watching and what's actually happening, it's just like because at first you're probably like, when I first went into it, I was like, okay, something's up with the dad, right? That's what you're thinking, like, what's up with this entryway? Like, what's going on? Like, you know, why don't people want to go in to see his dad? Like, I was like, so like, you know, all of that.
There you go. Now you've triggered the thoughts of others to see, well, what's going on with that? So
yeah,
I need you to come and see Bull Street so you can trigger that one. You think that's good? You wait till you see this one.
Exactly. That's why when I like watched that show, I'm like, oh man. And then also the actors that you got for Bull Street. Like, obviously, I think a lot of people know Loretta. Like, if you grew up and then
amazing.
Loretta Devine.
She is, oh my goodness. She is an entity all her own. She's so professional and just so well known and respected in the industry. She's amazing. And then we also have Amy Madigan, another one. I mean, these ladies are award winners in their craft, you know, in their skill. And Amy was absolutely phenomenal, as well as Loretta. And we have some that are up and coming. And, you know, I think it's important to diversify that, because, you know, you don't want just all established people. I mean, mind you, it's really good if you could have it. But the other thing is, it's always good to pull some young people along, you know, and to give them that break. Everybody needs that break, that moment that gives them that propels them into the next step or the next stage of their journey. And so we actually really did. We have Melinda Hale, and she plays Loretta Devine's granddaughter, and she does an amazing job. And we have Ariel Prepetit. And I'm not going to type all the positions that they play, because you've got to come see the movie. But Ariel Prepetit is also a young lady. Goodness gracious. We have Gary Ray Moore. And Gary Ray Moore has been on several shows. He's been on Broadway. We have Matthew Greer. He also, oh my goodness, he's a man with his own journey and lots of skill and in lots of movies. So then we have, like I said, we have some more. We have... let's see, Chantal Maurice and Nikki Boggs. And you know, it's strong with women. It's very strong with women, but we've got the men, and they hold their own. So, you know, I have to say, overall, I'm very, very pleased with the acting, the skills, and how everyone came together to make this movie work.
Oh, that's amazing to hear. And I'm so excited to actually see it. I won't be in Bermuda though, which is upsetting for me, but I did wonder if you had any of your films actually at the TIFF in Toronto at all at some point, because this is where I'm located right now, but that's for another conversation.
We'll talk about that later, but I do not have it at the TIFF, unfortunately, in Toronto, not yet, or not at this point. But yeah, so we'll have to talk some more about that. But as for Bull Street.
Yes, I did. If I could just ask this question about it, because although it has like great ties to America, I mean, I feel like the storyline of it can resonate so much with Bermudians and kind of like what we're kind of going through. Like, let's be honest about like even just land ownership, and also just fighting for the land rights and also reparations and things of that nature. So can you talk about just like how the pivotal moments kind of do reflect some of Bermuda's own history in it?
Sure. No, yeah, definitely. This particular movie, it deals with, it is a struggle for ownership of land. determination of heirs. And it actually also touches on mental health. And one of the reasons that I wanted to proceed and make sure this movie was available for the world to see is because I actually fused with the words on that paper. And it is a must. There are so many lessons to learn here. And the struggle of land that applies here, and determination of heirs of property, legal documents, mental illness, it applies in Bermuda. And it's happened in Bermuda. But it's not only happened in Bermuda, it's happened in the United States, it's happened in Canada. You can go around the world and, you know, it has happened and is still happening. And it's important to remind people what some important points are, you know, how they should address it, or what they should think about. I mean, communication is one of the very important keys. When you're talking to your family, it's important to leave the correct legal documentation behind, you know, because you don't know if tomorrow will come. You know, I just find it something, it has a lot of lessons in this movie, but it's not drilled in your throat. You know, it's lessons that you can sit off, relax, and go, It leads to a discussion. And I think it's so important to discuss these items. Many times we hide behind it. I mean, I can tell you, my own grandfather lost his land. I don't mean a little bit, I mean a lot. You know, that's because someone else came to help him. And they said, hey, you know, he trusted, it was a best friend of his. Now, my grandfather had some hearing challenges. And so he wasn't college educated, but he was an intelligent man. He just trusted his best friend who said, hey, let me help you because it's so much property with the death tax. And then, you know what? The person wouldn't give it back. And he lost it all. And that happens all the time. It's just the storylines are a little bit different. So for me, it's important to tell this story. Now, let me tell you something else about this story. So Lynn Dow, who's my writer and director, this story is not only about land, because it's about land, it also has a personal touch. So this is an homage to her grandmother. She was very close to her grandmother, was her best friend. And when her grandmother passed away, Lynn was supposed to speak at her funeral, and she couldn't because she was just so stricken with grief. She just couldn't move. And it was something that she just couldn't get past. So as she tried to maneuver her way through it, she did some research, and she actually found out her great-grandmother was on Bull Street. Now that's going to lead me to a whole nother situation. I'll tell you why. Bull Street is the name of South Carolina, the state mental hospital that used to be, they've closed it now, but it was very well known across the state. And back then they called it the insane asylum. We've all been there. We've all heard of that word. We all now know there is such a better way to deal with mental illness. You know, it's across people's families, their friends, and we don't have to focus on it and stereotype it in such a negative way. So Lynn found out her great-grandmother was on Bull Street. And when her grandmother came out, they lost their land. They lost all of it. So you see, I'm in Bermuda, and this happened to me. She's from New York, and it happened to her maternal family in South Carolina. So it just transcends cultures. It transcends races. It transcends religions. Now, this is one of those movies that you can put anywhere in any country, and they will understand. It will touch them. And it will provoke a wonderful discussion that I think really needs to happen in the world today.
Thank you for sharing that. Like that personal touch that actually makes this movie so much more deeper than just the surface. Wow.
You're welcome.
Like you said, we're kind of afraid to like talk about these things when it comes to money or ownership. Like we kind of shy away from these conversations, which like I feel like we just need to be a lot more upfront about within our families. Definitely.
I do agree. I mean, they're not easy conversations to have. Mm-hmm. They're definitely not easy, but they're conversations that we need to have. And sometimes you have to put the need before the want.
Indeed.
Yeah, this was one of those, because of there being so much that I thought could impact the world, I needed to do it. And Lynn and I said, we need to get this done. And we did whatever we could to get it done. You know, being a producer is not an easy task. It's a wonderful, fulfilling occupation. However, you know, hey, stuff happens all the time. You know, you have to have grit. You have to have determination, because things, whatever can go wrong on a movie set, will go wrong. And you have to find a way to make a judgment call. You're working with every department. It's almost like being a mayor in a town. And they come to you and they say, hey, look, what are we going to do? We just had this, you know, $100 or $1,000 light bulb blow out, and they don't have any more in the town, or they don't even have it in the next town. What do we do? You know, so the weather can make a difference. And all of a sudden, you know, you're planning for a sunny day, and there comes this freak storm out, and you're going, oh my goodness, get the equipment, get it in the trucks, pack it up. You're moving, you're shifting. It's change all the time. But in the end, what depends most is your decision to benefit the film. You know, you're working with the director, you're working with every department, but whatever that final decision is, it's to benefit the film and the director so that the movie can proceed.
Thank you for giving some insight on that too, because I was wondering like what that actual role is to be a producer. Like, what does it even mean to you, and how like, given a 24-hour day, how much hours of the day are you actually working? Like, that's
most of it. There's some, I've heard people say, did you sleep? And I go, no. Sometimes it's a, you know, it's like, okay, I slept for 4 or 5 hours, and you just have to keep it going, you know. And it's not only a time is money, but, you know, time, you have people's talent. There's no way that I could have made this movie if I didn't have such a phenomenal cast, you know, to bring those words to fruition. If I didn't have a wonderful crew, a hardworking crew, you know, that could work and give the cast what they need. You know, that cast, that crew, all, you know, that director, we have to make sure that all of those things come together, and they have to fit just perfectly so each day can progress. You know, we can film and you're able to get things done in a timeline, because timelines are very, very important when you're filming a movie. You just can't, you don't want to mess it up, because when if there's a problem with the timeline, then it means you have to totally reconfigure the schedule, the call sheet for the following day. And you don't want to have to do that if you don't have to.
It's a lot of work, a lot of moving pieces.
It's moving pieces all the time, 24/7. It really is. I mean, there's sometimes I remember, you know, us having conversations and you're texting back and forth because there has to be a change and people have to be notified. It's 3 in the morning. I'm like, you know, oh goodness. People have to be notified before 7 so they can get to set on time and know of the changes. And sometimes it calls for a change in the actor, a change in the location. And you're going, oh my goodness, a change in costume. It's amazing. It's a thrill though. You know, you have to have a passion for it. If you have a passion for it, you love the thrill that comes with the highs and the lows and the ups and the downs. And it's all about making it come together in a positive way for the best of the movie.
You sound like the most organized person right now. Just talk about all the changes. You're probably thinking, but no, you probably have such good time management. I can already see it, like, and the light that just comes up in your face just talking about it. You enjoy the thrill.
It was time well spent. It was time well spent. And if I had to do it all over, I would do it again. But I've learned some things, but I would do it again. I mean, you know, I think what's really important is, you know, with this journey, you have to keep an open mind because, you know, you're not just communicating with one person. I mean, I was communicating with well over 100 and something people, but everybody doesn't think the same. Everyone is not from the same country. Everyone is not from the same state. The towns, some are from metropolitan cities, some are from really, really tiny towns. And it makes a difference. Some are from the north, some are from the south. It makes a difference in how they see, you know, the world before them and how they communicate with people. I mean, we filmed this in a little town called Somerton, South Carolina. And I say it's a little town. It's a very, very, very little town. It's one of those that It didn't have a grocery store. There's a stoplight. There's a gas station on that stoplight and a gas station over here. But you know what, though? I mean, we couldn't get everything because it was such a small town that you're used to getting. It's nothing like filming in a huge city. But I will say the people were absolutely amazing. They welcomed us into their homes, their hearts. They helped us wherever they could. They were encouraging. And so because of that, what also is very important is the cast and crew. We said to them, hey, we want you to understand this is Southern hospitality. This is culture. And it's important for us to respect their culture. And it worked, but you really have to be aware of it because they're giving their space, their time, their energy. We filmed this in a very special place. I mean, the town of Somerton, South Carolina, was the first of Briggs versus Elliott, which led to Brown versus Board. And that has to do with education system and making sure that, we can all get a good education. And that actually happened right in that town. Matter of fact, our PO, which is actually where your home base is, so to speak, was the same school, the same building that they used. And that was amazing. I walked in and got goosebumps. I'm like, wow. It's so yeah, I mean, Somerton was a special place, and it was very important for us to give back to those people and to be aware of culture and class and religion. You just have to show respect no matter what when you're making a movie, because even the people that you're working with, they all have different backgrounds. And yeah, I think that's important. Did I answer your question?
That was brilliant. Yes, you more than answered my question, especially with the connections and the culture and like having that respect of like, again, we're talking about land ownership, right? And we're talking about like being in places that, that are ours, trying to keep what's ours, legislation, all of that. So that weighing heavy into what the movie is even about, like you being in that set, in that town, what they had to go through, what their land means to them. So it's very, yeah.
And they are, I would say in that town, they are very land rich. And what I mean by that is, I mean, we went on, oh my goodness, we went on some farms, and as far as the eye could see, that property belonged to one person or one family. We went on some farms, and it was part of the movie, and that we absolutely really, really liked, but it involves some cows. And, I mean, I'm not a horse person because I find them so big, but the owner said, no, you've got to pet this horse. I'm cringing and my eyes are closed. I'm like, okay, but I did. They had goats and there were things that I didn't even know what the names of them were because we're in Bermuda. I'm not going to play with a possum, if you get my gist. But the land was very important to this community. In some cases, they were land rich, but it's saving that land as it comes down in the family. Sometimes people have land and they don't understand the value of it. And you want your next generation to do better than you did. I think every generation feels that way. So you think about a lot of people will send their kids to college. Well, when you get out there, if you're coming from a small town or even a small island like Bermuda, it's a different world. There's so much to see, so much to do, so much to conquer, so much to learn. But it's also so important to go back, to come back to your home and to give, to come back and save that land. Don't sell it. Don't sell the land. Make it work for you. Make it farmable, or, see if you can build a building on it and rent it out to someone. So that I think is really important when it comes to land. Preserve it, because whomever bought that land and has passed that down for you worked really hard to get it.
I think you're saying all the things that people need to hear, honestly, and like just not only respecting the land, but yes, respecting your family, your family's home, the work, the sacrifice that they made. Oftentimes, like I know everyone, for the most majority, loves their family, but I don't think we always understand what the generation above had to go through, because we don't really have those intergenerational connections of actually communicating and passing down enough knowledge that we should know offhand. And I think that's something that I feel like every community could say that they're missing a little bit of that. Like even me being out here and not being home, I know I'm missing out on that. And I'm like, I need to know more about what's going on. But you said something that reminded me of a gift that I was given when I was in university, just leaving the island going. I had this woman that I had an interview with, Dr. Barbara Ann Hamilton Hinch. She was the first Black woman to ever graduate Dalhousie University with a PhD.
Oh, nice.
I think that was in 2016 too. So it wasn't even that far away. First Black woman to do it.
There you go.
And she gave me this gift. It was a bird, as if it was flying forward, but looking back. And she gave it to me to remind me that even though your dreams are bigger than home base and you want to leave home, don't forget to give back and don't forget to look back. And
I just agree with her. I think that's a beautiful gift. And it says a lot. You know, it does say a lot about it's important to remember your home, remember your ancestors, and to appreciate what people did so that you could be here. You could be there. You can be wherever you need to be. It had to be a lineage and history to get you to that point.
Exactly. And I think your movie, like this film, like I feel like it's going to touch on a lot about like understanding what your family has gone through and like also re-understanding or learning it for the first time so that you can make the next moves forward. So I'm more intrigued to like see that development in the character herself, like with her grandmother and like figuring out how she travels through all these new experiences that she's going to learn and history that she's going to finally get really into about her family.
Back tomorrow or in the next week and see this movie because I'm telling you, it's going to answer your questions and give you so much more.
Okay, so before I want to close this out and just ask you to tell us about, you know, where it's going to be, when, and how long it's going to be the island, it's a fun little game I kind of want to play with you, just talking about the film. So color, feeling, and animal. So I want you to tell me what color would Bull Street be if it was a color? What animal would Bull Street be if it was a color? And then what feeling would Bull Street be if it was a feeling? And try to give me a why as to each one.
Purple.
Purple if it was a color. Why?
Because that's a royal color. I feel that there is so much strength and determination and encouragement and levels of success in this movie that it's royalty. This is a classic. This is one of those that you'll be able to watch 20, 30 years down the road, and it's still going to hit you, and you're still going to get meaning from it that you can take and have a discussion on.
And if it was a feeling?
Powerful. Powerful across all lines, in every character.
Okay. And if it was an animal?
Lion. Because lions are, hey, they say the king of the jungle, but yeah, a lion. You know, you'll hear it roar. It will speak to you. And the conversation from that lion will last you forever.
I love that. Love that. Okay, so closing out, just let me know exactly where it's going to be, if there's tickets still left for it, and how long it's going to be running in Bermuda.
Yes, Bermuda, come on. Okay. It will show at the Media Lounge Friday, October 11th. It's going to start there. We have several showings, 3 showings on Saturday, 2 on Sunday, and then on Monday evening. So please come out. Now, because of popular demand, I've also done one on Monday at the Specialty Cinema. So please go online, take a look, get your tickets. I promise you this will be worth your while. And this is one of those that you will never forget.
Thank you so much for your time. Everyone who's watching this, please go out and watch this movie, but do not spoil it for me because I am going to go out there and try to get to see this myself. Is there anywhere else, though, for persons like me who aren't on island, who are probably tuned in, where else can they watch this film?
Well, right now, so we're a small independent company. And one of the things that was really important to us is we wanted to give back to people that gave to us, okay, to make this possible. And so the first group of people, once we finished doing the film festivals that we were in, so let me give you an information. We actually were, like as I said, I think I said earlier, we were in LA and we did the Pan-African Film Festival. And then after that, we got a call to do the Sarasota Film Festival. Totally different audiences. We sold out in Sarasota, all 3 theaters. And it worked really well. And we decided, once we saw it on the big screen, oh, first time I saw it on the big screen, I was hooked. And I was like, this looks stunning. I need to show it on the screen. So we decided to take it to South Carolina and back to that little town. So people in South Carolina, all of those that helped, and it wasn't just in Somerton, but that was the main base, but we used people in different towns next to them and nearby, and Manning and Pinewood and that sort of thing. But we wanted to give back to them because they gave so much to us. I mean, they opened their homes and their hearts, and it was wonderful. And it played actually in South Carolina for a month and a half. And so that we used distributors of Regal Theater, and we went throughout South Carolina, and we went to each theater. We did a Q&A there. So actually, I'll be doing a Q&A on Friday at the Media Lounge. And the weather hasn't been the greatest and most stable, and I have some of my actors that are actually filming, but I'm going to have them all on the screen, and they're going to come and do a Zoom to introduce themselves, and they'll take questions from the audience on Friday. So I'm really looking forward to doing that. And yeah.
Oh, amazing. That's really great. I'm so glad they're going to be able to come and people are going to have that time. Is it going to be before or after the movie? After, right?
After the movie, right there, those sitting in the audience will have that access. Yeah. So, and then on Saturday and Sunday, you know, I will definitely be there myself to do just a Q&A afters to answer any questions and have a little conversation and talk to people about the movie a bit. And then on Monday, like I said, we're going to have it at Specialty, and just for Monday night, due to popular demand. So I'm listening, people. So yep, we have a Monday. I think we may end up doing an afternoon show as well on the Monday. But so for the week, it will definitely be up at the Media Lounge, continuing onward. And the next thing I want to do after we finish here, to answer your question, is yes, I do want to stream it. So yeah, but a little bit, but it's coming. It's coming. And if there's a chance I can get it to Canada on a big screen, I'll work on that. I'll see what happens.
But okay, that sounds amazing. And I'm very happy that I was able to have this conversation with you. And thank you for your time. And I hope that Bermuda is treating you and giving you the flowers that you deserve for this amazing, amazing accomplishment. And I hope that also a lot of young people who want to stay in this creative field and be in this pathway know that there are heights that they can reach in it, and to not feel discouraged by being in such a small place like Bermuda, that there are things they can reach for.
Bermuda it is tricky being here. You know, it is tricky because you don't really know how to advance yourself beyond here. And sometimes you have to leave here to come back. But what's real important is there is so much talent here. I recognize that. Bermuda is so talented, the Bermudians are. And it's important to give back. So, you know, my thing is, I'm gaining this knowledge. I've gained this knowledge. I'm still gaining more every day. And then I want to make sure that I can bring others along, you know? So, but for me right now, it's Bull Street. So, hey, Bermudians, come on out. Let's support and enjoy this. Trust me. And for those, you know, filmmakers and in the creative, come check it out. It's worth your while.